Shibuya Sukuna versus the Shinjuku raid? Let's just say it depends on his mood. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, I like to yap. Quite a lot, in fact. I say it's a talent of mine, or possibly what has been discussed to be a problem before. But with that being the case, since I like to yap, this video by Lumiere, whose channel will be linked in the description down below, this Sukuna would solo the Shinjuku raid, will be linked in the description down below. Because since I will be yapping, and this video is only 10 minutes and 25 seconds long, I can promise you this version of the video will be much, much longer. Because I do enjoy yapping. So please go check out Lumiere in the description. Go back to the original channel, leave a like on the video, run it up. Of course, he's a fantastic JJK content creator. Covers a variety of topics, from versus battles to story discussions to technique explanations, technique versus battle. So there's so much he covers. So please go check him out. But now that I have given him his due praise, let's talk about, presumably, what I assume, based on the thumbnail and this Sukuna, I'm guessing he's talking about 15-finger Shibuya Sukuna. Now, let me say something. I do declare. I do wonder if he's doing taking out Megana and just having it be Yuji Kuna, and then thusly our heroes would get Megami on their side, or if he's just doing, there's suddenly two Yujis now. And then it's like the Yuji, Shinjuku Yuji, and then Shibuya Sukuna in Shinjuku. And to that, I say he'd probably still lose. And he'd be like, huh? Pencil, are you insane? But no, I don't think I am. Because realistically, he just fights Gojo, gets worn down again. Well, actually, it really, once again, like I said in the intro, it really depends on his mood, right? Because if we're going with the idea that this Sukuna, considering Shinjuku raid, he may just mean the, I already forgot what the thumbnail looks like. I'm so stupid because it's a fun drawing of Sukuna, like Shinjuku or Shibuya Sukuna standing over the Shinjuku characters. But if this includes the Gojo versus Sukuna fight, and it's 15 finger, and he's at 75% strength, I mean, there's definitely ways he can clutch that up, but it'll be a lot harder, because he'll never find a way to bypass Infinity without Raga. So, like, he would have to kill him with Domain Amp plus Shrine, Malevolent Shrine. So that's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of time. So it's probably going to be very EP. But then again, if he's too EP by the time he finally defeats Gojo, assuming if you think he defeats Gojo, you may think that Sukuna would lose. He's at 75%, not 100%, and also he'd only have Shrine. So if you think that a Sukuna with only Shrine can't beat Gojo, he can't use Domain Amp plus Malevolent Shrine in order to outlast Gojo's domains and hit him to the 5 brain refresh limit, and then he dies, or no, and then he can't hit that point, and then Gojo never dies, then Gojo just wins. So he definitely would hold the Shinjuku raid then. But assuming he somehow gets through the Shinjuku raid, no World Slash, because once again, no Raga, or he adapts or adopts a World Slash all his own, then you run into the issue of, like, him being in a weaker body with 2 less arms, with no World Slash to worry about, presumably, unless you say he figures out how to do it with just 2 hands. And then the cast and crew, which was already pressing a stronger version of Sukuna with a much better body, probably just gives him backshot. Like, unless you assume he incarnates anyway. But I think the concept of this video is that he can't incarnate. Like he can't. Or maybe for the Kashimo fight, for example, he incarnates into Yuji Kuna, because, like, he can't go back to his full form for one reason or another. So, like, I don't know. If Hand Body Sukuna lost, admittedly due to, like, plot and Sukuna's own stupidity, then probably Yuji Kuna would lose too. Really considering he'd be weaker. He'd be 5 less fingers, meaning he'd probably be at less than Yudo amounts of curse energy by the time the Gojo fight wraps up, if he even gets through that, which you can argue he may not. And then the casting crew just viciously diff him? Like, remember all the fighting back and blocking he was doing with his 2 extra set of arms as he held Hollow Wicker Basket in Yuda's domain? That ain't happening. Remember the way that Rika was already throwing around a much bigger, heavier, and bulkier Sukuna? Yeah, now he's just Yuji weight. So he's getting tossed around even more there. Yuji doesn't have to worry about 2 extra arms. Higuruma will probably still won't tag him. But so, like, ultimately, the only way I see this Sukuna soloing the Shinjuku raid is if he takes it 100% serious from rip, which Sukuna just never does. Every time Sukuna locks in, he just kills people. But he probably wouldn't do that because he's bored. So if we're going with the same personality, I actually don't think so. I don't think Sukuna would solo the Shinjuku raid. I think he'd die again. Just like he died the first time, when he was in a stronger body. But big, bodacious, round, plump, delicious booty butt cheeks. Why is there delicious in there? But that aside, I'm trying to think, like, I don't really see the vision. You know, like I may be crazy, call me buku boggers, but like, I don't see the vision. Unless he's fully locked in from round start, doesn't lose his domain, and just starts wilding on fools. Like, he's out here blitzing Maki and stuff like that still. If he's on blitz Maki timing the entire time, then he solos. But you can say the same thing about Hand Body Sukuna. If he was on blitz Maki timing the whole time, he would have soloed. Or even Megana. If he was on blitz, like, if he did everyone like he did Ryu and Kashimo, then yeah, of course he solos. But then every Sukuna solos. Except for, like, 1 finger, 5 finger, and, like, the lower finger variations, since they do affect his power output. Like, 15 finger and up, yeah, they give the whole first back shots. Of course they do. But I think that fundamentally changes an aspect of Sukuna's character. So you give him a weaker body and he probably loses. That's what I think. Enough of my preemptive yapping. Let's see what Lumiere has to say about this Sukuna soloing the Shinjuku raid. Let's take a look.
Sukuna just beat Gojo. He's transformed into his true form, and now he has to fight all of the sorcerers left.
Have you drank water today? Are you staying hydrated? Make sure you do. You are 60, or I feel like I've heard new numbers, like apparently 70%. You are 70% water. Make sure you stay hydrated, folks. But hydration aside, okay, so we are skipping. We are skipping Gojo versus Sukuna. Actually, if I had, I know Lumiere sometimes watches the videos. If I had a request for him, I would love to see him argue Yuji Kuna versus Gojo. That would be interesting, because it looks like we're skipping it here, so we aren't even going to tackle that. We're just going to go through the Shinjuku raid with Shibuya Sukuna. But Lumiere, let me know. Like, if you want to do that, I mean, I may do it too. But once again, I kind of think that you can argue either way for either one winning. Depends on how much he thinks Sukuna really needed the 10 shadows, or you take his word and Gojo's word at face value. Then he doesn't, and he just wins anyway. But Lumiere, do 15 finger, or if you want to just do 20 finger, do 20 finger Yuji Kuna versus Gojo. I don't want to see that. If you don't mind, of course, at your own pace, if you are even here. But with it being the case, all right, we're skipping over the Shinjuku. We're skipping over Gojo versus Sukuna. Let's see, does he get the full heal when he becomes Yuji Kuna? Let me get more context.
Bad thing for Sukuna is he's pretty weakened from his fight with Gojo. If we took away the nerfs, this Sukuna would obviously win. But instead of it being true form Sukuna without the nerfs, how about we switch him with a fresh 15-finger Sukuna? Could he still survive the Sukuna raid?
Fresh? No nerfs? No nerf? I don't know. I know the backshots are smelling me, but once again, it's all in his mentality. Because let's be real, what nerf does Hand Body Sukuna have? What nerf? He's just brain damaged, right? He can't use his domain, but he has everything else. He has World Slash with conditions. He has the Dismantle Net, full output. He has that full output. Like, that's the thing. Remember, he only used, I believe they say it at the end of 237. He used the Incarnation as a full body refresh. The only thing that didn't get refreshed was his brain damage. But his output was presumably back to normal. His body, even if his output ever dropped, which it may have, but still, like he was basically back at full. And a stronger body. So he still just sold the bag. Like, there's a reason I made that Sukuna stupid video, because he's an idiot. He sold the bag. All for the love of the game. He's a little bit freaky. He likes to get hit. Knocked around a little bit. He's a freak, and thusly he sold the bag here. But if we're giving fully fresh, and if we're giving him the Sukuna, if we're making him act like he did against Shogo, where he doesn't want to get hit, and he doesn't want to test anything, and he doesn't want to touch anything, for the sake of one reason or another, then he violently gives backshots to everybody. But if we don't do that, and we assume it's regular Sukuna, at least personality-wise, he dies easier. Because he has 2 less arms, a weaker physical form, and I mean, he probably still gets Kamutoke in this timeline, but still, like, he'd still lose that eventually too. So, like, I don't know. Does he solo? with the right mentality, but every Sukuna soul's with the right mentality. But let's see Lumiere.
Well, in this video, I'm going to provide you guys with an answer. Without wasting any more time, let's get into it. So first, I think it's important to outline what 15-finger Sukuna would have over the true form Sukuna that we actually see in the Sukuna raid. We'll do this in a list of nerfs that true form Sukuna has at the start of the battle. So first of all, Sukuna got that special brain rot from Gojo's domain, which...
That is the biggest one. And like, you know, there is hot debate, right? If, let's say we give Hey and Buddy Sukuna his domain back early, does he use it? I mean, he tries to start killing him with domain once he gets it back. Once he figures out the open path, he does try it. So maybe eventually he'd get bored and do it. But I feel like I don't know, because at first he didn't use domain against Gojo. They had their little playtime. So I feel like Sukuna, even if he didn't have the Giga Brain damage, or as Lumiere called it, the Super Brain Rot, even if he didn't have the Super Brain Rot, I don't think he would have gone for it immediately. Obviously, it's good that it was gone, but like, I still don't think he would have gone for it immediately. I think he would have played around a little bit, and then got bored, and then domain, and then everyone dies. Because like, no one in the Jujutsu raid was taking a full output domain. The fact that some characters even survived it when it was binding vowed to be full output, but only lasts for 99 seconds, that was still crazy. But at that point, his output, then again, no, they said it was a full output domain. But maybe that was full output and his already reduced output from taking all those hits from Yuji. Who knows? Let's see.
Which essentially affected Sukuna the whole raid, which led to him being unable to use Malevolent Shrine. His RCT
I forgot about the brain damage slowing down his RCT too. So yeah, that's another big nerf he had, because he couldn't path that appropriately, and Yuji just kept nerfing it, so he couldn't ever really path it appropriately until the very end.
Sluggish, his curse energy levels are around the same as Yuta's, he's holding back, and his output is nerfed. These were the debuffs Sukuna had on.
Okay, see? But is this really a debuff? I mean, it is a debuff in the sense that he's not using his full stats, but like, that's character writing. That's some plot, well, is it plot induced if it's good character writing? Is it plot induced if it's good character writing? Let me just stroke the beard and consider such a possibility. Nah, it's kind of, I mean, like, you can chalk it up to character writing as you want, but it's still technically plot stupidity that he was holding back so much. Because, like, I bring it up all the time. It's my one issue with the Shinjuku raid. I like the Shinjuku raid as a narrative thing, and that allowed a bunch of characters to flex and show off their abilities and their evolutions in unique ways. Love what Yuta does. Love what Maki does, even though I wanted more of it. Love what Yuji does. Hakari, I feel bad for him. But the one thing it does, it just makes Sukuna look so stupid. It makes him look like such an idiot. Even after he figures out what Yuji's doing to him, he still interacts with him when you don't have to. Sukuna, you're so dumb. You're so stupid. I love you, Sukuna. You're one of my favorite characters in this series now. I finally get your hype after the Yuki showdown, but you're such a legendary idiot, dog. He's so dumb that, like, it actually kind of hurts a little bit. He's such an idiot. But that's one thing. That's idiot. That's idiot timing that he's on. So I can't really praise that all too much. And also, because of that, it makes the scaling so weird. The main thing that the series, it literally takes Thor's hammer, it straight pulls up and just beats us again and again and again and again with this idea that Gojo and Sukuna are literally elephants dancing around ants. The entire universe, whole actual high tiers and top tiers, get victimized, fodderized, get their cheeks, they literally get bent over and have their cheeks dug into and spread open by incomplete or underpowered versions of these characters. Look at Toji. Admittedly, well, he was rusty, but undeniably, no matter how you feel about Toji, he's in a high tier. He's definitely a high tier. Even if you don't think he's a top tier, like certain people, like your boy does, even if you don't think he's a top tier, he's definitely a high tier. And Awakened Teen Gojo, no domain, tweaking off the sauce, viciously diffs him. Sukuna, at 75% of his full power, takes Ryu, the guy with the highest output in the verse, and viciously diffs him. And everybody else. So, like, the narrative goes so far out of its way to show that Sukuna and Gojo are in this entirely different league. Yuta Okotsu, who many people believe is the third strongest character in the series, is being told repeatedly, you can't go in there. You're going to slow them down. You're going to hold Gojo back. You're going to mess everything up. He even agrees with that. But then Sukuna, he spills his IQ. He undoes the brain cap that he has on, like he's Kenjaku, lifts it up, dumps his brain on the floor, puts the cap back on, brain still on the floor, and loses. Because he's an idiot. And thusly, all the Shinjuku Shana stuff is so weird. And it's weird not just on, oh, it's a Sukuna character thing. This man does yell a full chant dismantle at Maki and she reacts to it. Admittedly, due to precog, but still she reacted to it. That's absurd. That's absurd. That's insane. There's no way to put it. That's nuts. Yuta does get grabbed and cleaved, admittedly while his Sukuna's output is way lower, but still, that happens. They eat dismantled. Like, so many weird things happen because our heroes have to hero and win because it's a shonen manga, and it takes the entire back chunk of all over Sukuna and Gojo Schmeat and just throws it out the window because their cast has to win somehow by making Sukuna as stupid as possible and basically taking the stat gap that used to be this large to the point where you can't even see my hands anymore and making it like this big, but occasionally that big. Like, Maki can sometimes keep up with Sukuna and react to his fastest and strongest curse technique attacks. And then sometimes she can get perception blitzed. Yuta can sometimes face tank Sukuna's attacks and be relative to him and damage him. And sometimes he can do no damage. And Yuji can go on a crazy roll where he's black flashing after awakening. And then he can get fully blitzed in one shot. And outdone in terms of hand-to-hand ability. Like, it's so random. And that's my main issue with the Jujutsu Showdown. And I know, it's an issue for me, because I'm a power scaler. I'm a filthy, nasty, disgusting, hasn't touched grass. And even after I said in a recent video, I need to go touch grass. Hasn't touched grass in months. In months. Admittedly, because a lot of the grass around me is dead because it's winter. But still, months. I'm a filthy, disgusting, nasty, horrific power scaler. But still, it bothers me. Because I think power scaling does matter to your narrative. It matters in all narratives, especially battle manga. And the way Sukuna just gets so undermined and spills all his IQ points on the floor. Oh, it bothers me to this day. He turns into such an idiot for such a smart character. But, that aside, back to the video.
On him after the Gojo fight. And later on in the Sukuna raid, he gets weakened even more, especially by Yuji, but we're only taking into account how Sukuna was when the raid started.
Another thing I don't like, my output falls. How much? The thing, and once again, it's the filthy, nasty, disgusting, and diabolical power scaler within me. I hate unquantifiable nerfs. How much did it nerf you, Sukuna? Because clearly the nerfs didn't matter too much, but they mattered a whole lot, I guess? And sometimes you can just bind you out to get back to full output for your domain, I guess? Because reason? Like, it's so nebulous. It's like the cast getting a Dura amp over the time skip. How much more durable? Not durable to that point where you surpassed Ryu, even when you're domain amp, so clearly it's not that durable. It's so unquantifiable. What is the difference durability-wise between Sendai Yuta and Shinjuku Yuta? I don't know. Difference between pre-Shinjuku Yuji and post-Shinjuku Yuji? I don't know. It's unquantifiable. It's so weird. It's dumb. I don't like it. It's why, admittedly, there are issues with Dragon Ball. But I like the multipliers that we got, and now that everything's unquantifiably stronger than before, I have no idea what everything is like. How big of a multiplier is Super Saiyan God? I don't know, greater than Fusion, but even then the Fusion multiplier is kind of debated. And then, we don't know if that's just Ritual Super Saiyan God or regular Super Saiyan God that the characters can use now. How much of a multiplier is blue? You would assume it'd just be 50 times Super Saiyan God, but that's never made clear. In the manga, definitely isn't that, based on, like, the Universe 6 interaction. What is the difference between Incomplete Blue and Completed Blue in the manga? We don't know, it's just stronger. Master Ultra Instinct or UI Sign versus Blue? No idea. Just stronger, I guess. It bothers me because I love good solid numbers. I'm a numbers man at my core, alright? So, seeing Sukuna just get nerfed unquantifiably, it scratches a bad part of my brain. Like, I love reading certain stuff because it scratches a good part of my brain. I'm like, yeah, scratching there real good. But other times I'm like, you're hurting my soul. Every bit of it. But let's see.
Now, if it were 15-finger Sukuna, he'd be weaker in finger amount, but he wouldn't have any of these restrictions. He can use domain. His slashes would be...
But he would have the character restriction, and likely the plot restriction of spilling all his IQ points on the floor.
Full output. He wouldn't be affected by Unlimited Void. He'd have full RCT. He won't be holding back. His curse energy reserves...
Oh, then he solos. Then he gives then he gives back shots. Alright, that's it. Video ends 1 minute and 21 seconds in. He literally opens domain, round start. If he's not holding back, he opens domain, round starts, fugas, everyone dies. Everybody. There's not to say, everyone dies. Choso has to make a super blood bubble or something. Everybody dies. That's it. He's not holding back, if we aren't plotting him, he bends the entire Shinjuku crew over and gives them back shots one by one. Or all at once with domain. Come on. Oh, he's violating them. It's gonna be horrific to watch. You couldn't show this to children. You can't show JJ to most children anyway. But you couldn't show this to children. Even young adults, they'd be traumatized from how vicious, nasty, disgusting, and dirty the back shots will be. We'll see.
Would be full, which should be immense, considering that when Yuta saw Sukuna fighting, he said Sukuna's CE level was about twice his amount, which maybe isn't exactly the case with 15 finger Sukuna, but it should be close enough because Pro is almost at full.
He literally would still have about 1.5 times the amount of curse energy as Yuta with infinitely more efficiency. Sukuna is implied to just basically be the 6 eyes without the 6 eyes in terms of efficiency, so like, it doesn't matter. Yuta's efficiency is actually kind of butt. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a Yuta glazer, but occasionally I have to rag on the boy. Like, his efficiency is kind of butt. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna got Yuka. But, with that being the case. Yeah, he still violates. Once again, no removal of that narrative gap. 15 finger Sukuna is an entirely different dimension than the rest of the verse. He just is. Except for Gojo. That's it. Everyone gets violated. We'll see.
Strain.
Essentially, do you guys remember how Sukuna did Ryu with Cleave? He'd do that to everybody, and then he'd have to dismantle Maki because she has no curse energy for his slashes to adjust to. So it adjusts at 0 like it did in the Shinjuku raid. Everybody else dies to 1 tap of Cleave, but he has domain, so he doesn't even have to tap Cleave. Oh, this is a mismatch. Oh, if he's not holding back, it's a mismatch. Yep, I agree. Lumiere. Spitting. Let's see.
Like 5 fingers probably isn't going to be the make or break of this fight. So with that being said, I'm going to break down every fight individually that true form Sukuna went through. So for example, the first round would be Hajime, second round Higuruma and Yuji, and so on. Now one thing that I forgot to mention is despite 15 finger Sukuna coming in fresh with no nerfs, he is going to have 1 negative, which is no world slice. Obviously,
he don't even need it though. And I even made a video about this a while ago. You can check it out. Oh, it's on the channel somewhere. I think I literally called it the most useless move in all of JJK because he literally doesn't need World Slash for anyone with Gojo. And he didn't even really need World Slash for Gojo. He just wanted it. He's just greedy. He's just greedy and hungry and unbelievably gluttonous. He did not need no World Slash for Gojo. And he definitely didn't need it for the Shinjuku raid, bro. So that nerf, quote unquote, not even needed. It's not even needed. Let's see.
15 finger Sukuna didn't have the world slice, so we will not be giving him that. Only things he's gonna have is what he showed in Shibuya. So for the first round, it's going to be 15 finger Sukuna versus Curse Technique Kashimo.
Violates viciously. I mean, you can make some weird arguments. If you think output wise Megana isn't nerfed at all. He's just a bit battle damage. He's a bit EP after getting purple. Then Kashimo does tag and outspeed him. But then again, he does dodge all of Kashimo's more dangerous attacks. So physically, Kashimo's able to keep up. And the bolt seems to do damage. And if in this Sukuna can incarnate, he may die to the bolt. But you could argue he was holding back against Kashimo for 1. And for 2, Kashimo probably just doesn't scale the 15 finger. Because you can definitely argue this Sukuna is drastically weakened. That's why he had to go into the refresh in the first place. Because he was drastically weakened after the Gojo fight. All that damage was lingering on him. And we know the potency and state of your body does heavily matter into your output and ability. We get this confirmed with Hana, who's just missing an arm. She's perfectly fine other than that. But missing an arm was enough for Hana to be infinitely worse in comparison to what she was back in 215. And we know that this Sukuna is missing an arm, missing 2 eyes, is missing a couple toes as well, and is overall extremely burnt and damaged. So his overall output and physical ability is likely heavily dropped, not to talk of the brain damage and everything else he had already gone through. So, while you can definitely make some weird roundabout arguments for NBA Kashimo, I won't lie, it's not like the arguments don't exist for Kashimo versus 15 finger. I still don't think it matters if he's at full health and not holding back. Because what does Kashimo do against Domain? Oh, that's right, nothing. He dies. Let's see. It really depends. I wonder if Lumiere is literally just going to say domain. Then the next person comes into the domain, they die. And the next person comes into the domain, they die. And the next person, because no one's damaging Sukuna enough. No one is damaging 15 finger, full health, non-holding back Sukuna enough for him to drop his domain. Not a soul. Let's see.
Now, Kashimo was struggling against a super weakened Meguna, who was missing a hand and an eye, and he still wasn't blitzing Sukuna, or didn't even seem to be posing too much of a problem until he used his lightning strike. So if that Meguna can react and dodge to some of Kashimo's attacks, then a fresh 15 finger Sukuna could do it too easily.
And you can definitely argue that fresh 15 finger Sukuna would actually be stronger than Sukuna if you go with his earlier statement and the idea that Sukuna was already at half curse energy amounts. anything that curse energy amounts correlate directly to output, then technically a 15 finger Shinjuku Sukuna, or technically he is 16 finger because of Yuji's finger that he was born with, but regardless, that 15 finger would have more curse energy and a fresher body than this one who's already at half amount. So he's basically, what we're looking at here is essentially like a 10 finger Sukuna in terms of overall ability. And he's still able to dodge and react to Kashimo's more dangerous attacks, such as the EM wave, and he's able to basically just face tank the screams. So like, it doesn't really matter.
Easily. The few hits Kashimo got in on Sukuna were off guard. So for example, the first one was off guard because he didn't expect Kashimo to speed up, and the second one was because Sukuna's vision got blocked by the debris of Kashimo's blast. A fresh Sukuna definitely would just be dancing on Kashimo like true form was. And even the lightning strike doesn't pose a threat to 15 finger Sukuna because he has his RCT fully available. So even if the lightning hits Sukuna, it doesn't pose a threat because he could just heal it back easily.
And there's a high chance that Kashimo wouldn't even be able to get the lightning off if Sukuna's using dismantles, because the chargers aren't going to touch him. If Sukuna's out here doing what he did to Jogo and very specifically putting his hands on him over and over again, then he may accidentally trigger a bolt and then like lose a hand. But like you said, RCT pops the hand right back out. And now if it hits Sukuna's head by accident somehow, because Kashimo directs it or something, then that would probably kill him. But like, oh no, 1 out of 100 chance. 1 out of their 100 battles, and Kashimo, luckily enough, gets a bolt to the head because Sukuna is feeling particularly handsy that day. Let's see.
That's even assuming Kashimo survives long enough to get off a lightning strike. But yeah, in conclusion, Sukuna just runs circles around Kashimo, ultimately just beating him by any way he prefers. Now we have round 2, which is Higuruma and Yuji versus Sukuna. I think this will...
He gives him back shots. Once again, he's not holding back, so he's not even gonna allow himself in the domain scenario. I remember I mentioned this a couple times in previous videos, but literally when Yuji and Sukuna fall in right here, when they show up right here next to the domains, they get teleported in by Yui, Sukuna could literally, not even moving, I say point, because, you know, he could point, but if we're using a non-holding back, Shibuya full output Sukuna, who took no damage from Kashimo, he could kill Higuruma before he landed. Remember, this Higuruma doesn't have RCT. The only post or during battle with Sukuna, he gets RCT. This is a Higuruma without RCT. Sukuna points a dismantle at that man and he dies. A singular, regular, full output dismantle kills Higuruma. And while Yuji definitely does have RCT, he was only tanking them that dismantle wave from Megana because Megana's output was drastically nerfed. He probably dies from a single dismantle too. He ain't got no counter to that. He ain't got no domain amp, and he wouldn't be able to activate symbol domain in time. So, his gauntlets may live because those gauntlets are strangely extremely durable, but that's it. That's it. They both die here immediately if we're feeling extra greedy and Sukuna is not holding back at all. Well, let's see what he says. Maybe he still lets Higuruma get Executioner's Blade anyway, because Sukuna will be somewhat in character even if he's not holding back, and then Higuruma still dies anyway. Because he wouldn't, like, Sukuna wouldn't let himself get hit by that. And he has 2 less arms here, so he probably wouldn't even spare the hand.
Play out pretty similarly to how it did in the manga, in the sense that Sukuna's gonna be testing them, but in this instance we're not gonna have Sukuna holding back. Even though he's curious to see what the sorcerers could do, he's gonna be more willing to delete them if they don't impress him fast enough. So Higuruma summons his domain, Sukuna admits he is guilty, but the domain only takes away his cursed tool given by Yorozu. So by the way, just so there isn't any confusion, I'm not saying 15 finger Sukuna has this cursed tool, but I'm just saying he does, because if...
Now that's an alternate scenario. That's the thing, but I don't think Sukuna would be that stupid. I mean, maybe he would. Maybe he's real dumb. Like, I bet, like, he spilled his IQ points on the floor. So maybe he would allow himself to get confiscated, and then I think he loses. Now, you'd be like, whoa, pencil man. Weren't you just glazing Sukuna to the moon and back? Yeah, if he wasn't holding back, and he was being smart and intelligent. Not even smart, just half decent. But if he loses Shrine, and he has nothing else, no Kamutoke or whatever, as physically powerful as 15 Finger Sukuna is, I don't think he even has the AP to kill Yuta and Yuji. They just sit there and fight him forever. Like, it legit just becomes a fest of Sukuna throwing them through buildings and then getting back up. Yuta probably, like, and the thing is, if he gets trapped in domain, he's extra cooked at that point. But, like, legit, Yuji and Yuta would, those two particularly, and even realistically Maki, all 3 of them are bulky enough that Sukuna would just have to take forever trying to tear through them. He only did he admits himself, admittedly, while he's heavily nerfed, but he admits, like, hey, I can't really take these 2 out. They're almost as bulky as that Ryu guy, who I needed to use Cleave on. If he doesn't have Dismantle or Cleave, no World Slap, nothing to negate durability, even as powerful as he is slamming people through buildings and stuff like that, we saw Hikari slam somebody through buildings, and that was Urume. Or Arame. And they took basically no damage. So you mean to tell me you give me 2 guys with RCT of really high level, like Yuta and Yuji, Rika, who apparently can just release RCT indefinitely, and Maki, who's just bulky enough to eat black flashes from Sukuna, and already react to things like World Slash? Yeah, Sukuna would eventually lose, simply because he couldn't do enough damage in time. Like, that would be the main thing that gets him. Like, he would not, unless you want to argue he can still do extreme damage, because when he was in forearm form against Yuji and got his full HT back, he was able to still do pretty decent damage to Yuji. But legit, I don't see Sukuna punching and kicking him to death. So there's your one win con. Sukuna has to spill enough of his IQ points on the floor to, I don't know, either not get Combo Toki or leave Combo Toki on the ground, get trapped in Higuruma's domain, get his curse technique confiscated, and then... it would take forever, though. Like, I'm not saying it would suddenly become an easy fight, especially if Sukuna stops holding back after he loses curse technique and realizes, oh no, I'm cooked. He would then probably blitz them forever. That's the thing. I think, you know what, he'd probably kill them eventually. He would probably still win, it would just take forever. He'd have to, like, drown them. Unironic, he would have to throw them into the bottom of the ocean, or, like, fill them with toxic waste, or he'd have to do something that would allow him to kill them. Because I don't think he's doing enough damage to punch and kick him to death. Especially Manga Sukuna. Sure, he knocks Jogo's jaw off, but Jogo's really frail. At least that's what Gege says, that's what all the extra materials say. Jogo's really frail. So, Yuta and Yuji, who are already taking hits and dismantles and even cleaves from Sukuna, with their RCT and their depths of their RCT and the ease of it, plus Maki's own durability, it would take for either Sukuna loses the battle of attrition because he doesn't drown them, or he drowns them. He drags them to the ocean, because they are going to physically overpower him if he doesn't want them to. And he definitely still outpaces Rika with his raw speed. So he'd have to, like, grab them by the throats, and then... ocean! And then slam dunk them down there. And then every time they come up, he has to dump down and make sure they drown. And they just choke and die. It's so stupid. I know, it's so stupid. But he brought up the idea, and that's the only way I could see Sukuna winning that case without Shrine. We'll see.
If we swap him with true form Sukuna, Urame regardless is going to drop him the tool. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. Since this Sukuna can use domain and his output is much higher, his slashes just go through everyone. Kusakabe against true form, who is holding back, output decreased, and his slash got nullified a little bit by Kusakabe's defense, said he almost died. Now imagine a Sukuna with full output. These guys are absolutely screwed against the King of Curses. Like, against true form Sukuna, Higuruma and Kusakabe literally just had light cuts on their body. If Sukuna had full output and was going all out, these guys...
That's the big thing. I still think Sukuna was holding back. Like, his output was already kind of nerfed because he took a punch or two from Yuji. But on top of that, he was still suppressing himself massively. Like they die. They die horrifically.
Would be done. But since there is a difference in fingers, I'm not just gonna say that they completely get one-shotted, but Kusakabe is gonna get injured pretty badly and essentially get out of the fight. Higuruma is the same, but his will and talent will carry him through the pain. Then the others join the fight. Yuji, Choso, and Ino. Sukuna is gonna remember how disappointed he was when Yuji lost to Choso, and he's gonna press Choso as hard as he can, which is going to lead Choso to a fate similar to how it happened originally.
That's another occasion of Sukuna just not holding back at all. He probably still does this to Choso. And then that's the thing. I say Yuji, Yuta, and Maki because I don't think anyone's bulky enough to take physical hits from Sukuna. Choso, who should be one of our more durable characters of the non-heavy hitters, he does get double pierced. But if you want to argue that full output 15 finger Sukuna could do this to them too, it's not the most insane argument if you go with his previous narrative hype. It's not. So he could maybe do this to people too. It could be, if you want to argue, like, oh, a techniqueless Shinjuku Sukuna. I may have to make that video. A techniqueless Shibuya Sukuna, or a techniqueless, Heiner Sukuna not holding back. How does he kill the heavy hitters? Particularly that. And you know what would be even worse? If one of the heavy hitters goes and takes care of Akari, because they realize, wait, we can't kill this guy. Or no, wait, he doesn't have his technique anymore. He's not actually that threatening anymore. Hold on. I could see, like, Yuta or Maki running to go take care of Urume, tagging Akari in, and then Hikari really can't die. He has to be drowned too, or has to have his arms ripped off for the 2 seconds he's in base, because he would literally just eternal domain loop Sukuna. So that would suck. Let's see. It sucked for Sukuna.
Sukuna blitzes him and just punches a hole through his body. And as Sukuna throws Choso's body away, he just slices him up, completely eliminated Choso from the equation because Sukuna already found him born. Then Ino is going to try to attack Sukuna with Nanami's technique. Sukuna finds it disrespectful that Ino is just using a phony version of Nanami's technique. And in a weird way, Sukuna respected Nanami. Because of this, Sukuna's just gonna slip Ino's attack, grab him by the face, and just dismantle Ino. As this happens,
that's the thing. Sukuna not holding back never gets hit. He never, even that first hit, it's not happening. He literally, if he goes the Jogo route, attacking and defending with absolute speed, they never hit him. Never. They never hit him. He never gets nerfed at all. He never takes any damage, and he violently backshots everybody. Like, it's so bad. If he's not holding back, if you let him keep his IQ points, bro, and you keep his narrative scaling and his narrative hype, and you just let it, or even you just keep his hand body scaling while he's nerfed, and he's out here blitzing Maki, he just pumps everybody full of something. Let's see.
Yuji and Higuruma try to simultaneously attack Sukuna, and he just sends slashes their way. Yuji doesn't get affected too much because his gauntlets have been almost like a shield for him and are very effective, but
he's probably still die though. Because all Sukuna needs to do is throw a dismantle net. One full output is a dismantle net from 15 finger Sukuna, Yuji dies anyway. The gauntlets don't cover his entire body, he loses his legs, he loses his arms that aren't guarded by the gauntlets, he loses his head, he still dies. Once again, if we're really going not holding back, Yuji still gets one shot. And you may be like, well, he's soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy, so shouldn't he have some resistance? Look at Gojo's resistance. He was still burned alive by that purple and was forced to heal a bunch of it through RCT. And we don't even know if we saw how he was initially affected by purple. He may have already started his RCT process before we see him. Yuji being soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy is not going to matter here. He still loses his legs and dies. Let's see.
But Higuruma was already injured, and this put Higuruma on his last legs. Sukuna starts to bully Higuruma, throwing him around and stuff. Yuji is trying to stop him, but gets hit with a dismantle on his stomach. Until eventually we get a scene like we did in the manga, where Sukuna is telling Higuruma to use RCT. Higuruma is able to successfully do it, and as he goes to attack Sukuna, bro just gets blitzed and minced. Simple as that. Yeah. I could just imagine Sukuna doing that and saying something like, I guess he could do it, and just moving on, like the cold character that he is. Yuji comes back healed, and as Sukuna's about to start fighting Yuji, round 3 arrives. Yuji and Yuta versus Sukuna. Now, one thing that is kind of weird.
Domain expansion insta-GG. This Yuta does not have small ball. You can make arguments that he post-Goda Yuta has small ball, because he uses it in Gojo's body. You could argue as the physical memory of doing small ball. However, that mapping works. But this Sukuna, who still has domain, the moment Yuta pops domain, Sukuna pops domain, and then Yuta dies. He goes techniqueless. Rika would still be around, but Rika's not doing anything. She's not tagging. She's not grabbing. He's blitzing her, knocking her away, and then killing Yuta. And blitzing Yuji, knocking him away, and killing him. If they don't automatically die to domain expansion, which they probably would. If he opens domain to counter Yuta's domain, they instantly die anyway. Even Rika would get assailed by slashes too, and it do damage. We see that a highly weakened Sukuna in his hand body is able to still immediately cleave through Rika's arms. She has infinite curse energy, but it didn't matter. Or balanced curse energy, but it didn't matter to Sukuna's cleave. It still immediately tore her arm to pieces. So Rika would definitely still be an MS victim, like everybody else. She just live it though, because she's kind of immortal. So like, unfor for them.
In this fight is that against True Form Sukuna, their main goal is that Yuji can seize the soul. So they're trying to get Sukuna cornered and let Yuji get some hits in. But this 15-finger Sukuna, as we know, is in Yuji's body. So I think it doesn't make sense to get rid of that plot point of them separating Sukuna and Megami's soul. So instead of it being Yuji Kuna, it's just going to be 15-finger Sukuna and Megami's body without 10 Shadow. This way we still sort of keep the essential elements of the fight while it being as realistic as we can make it. So Yuta pulls up, tries to throw hands with 15-finger Sukuna for a bit, and summons Domain, as Yuji joins up to jump Sukuna. True Form Sukuna in the original fight is aware they're trying to seize his soul, so 15-finger Sukuna should also come to that same conclusion, and he's going to approach this fight way differently than True Form did. He's going to do what Yuta feared the most, which is Domain expansion. Yep. Sukuna will open Domain and clash with Yuta's. Now, Yuta is nowhere near as experienced as Gojo in Domain battles, so Sukuna should be overpowering his Domain domain pretty easily. And I'm aware Yuta did improve his barrier abilities, but even in Gojo's body, it was obvious he was so inexperienced. So him normally, without the 6 eyes, who has a worse barrier technique than Gojo, shouldn't stand a chance against Sukuna's brutal domain expansion. Rika, Yuta, and Yuji are ultimately overwhelmed by Sukuna's domain, which is perfectly consistent since they both admitted under normal circumstances they should have been one-shotted by Sukuna's slashes, but since he's hella nerfed, they didn't get one-shotted. But also later on in the original fight, when True Form activates domain, I mean that was just a game ender. If the others didn't have a way to get out of the domain and Yuji didn't have choso, the series would have been just done right there. So in this instance against 15 Finger Sukuna, Yuji and Yuta are most likely done. Now on to round 4, Maki versus Sukuna. This time, she isn't gonna be able.
Thing is, Maki can't do anything. Unless he shuts down domain and puts his own technique on cooldown, Maki literally can't pull up. Why? Because she's an object. Why? Because this full output dismantle still tear her to ribbons, dog. and I'm a Maki beat bunch to the moon and back, but I can't deny that. She still gets viciously dead. It's why Miwa, of all characters, had to come in and save her when Sukuna started domaining. Again. Like, she needs some sort of anti-domain counter, and she wouldn't have it. She'd literally stand there and watch as Yuta and Yuji and Rika all die. Well, Rika wouldn't die, but takes extreme damage. And be unable to do anything. She couldn't get in there. What's she gonna do? She can't get in there like somewhere. She dies. Literally, especially if Sukuna insta domains back. Like, say it's like the Gojo and Sukuna thing where Yuta domains, Sukuna immediately domains, instantly they both die. Yuji and Yuta, I mean. And then Rika just lives. But Maki's not gonna be able to get in there like swimwear. She's cooked too. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Man, it hurts me to say that as a Maki meat muncher. But it's the truth. It's the truth. As much as I'm a Maki meat muncher, I still am a Sukuna slopper to my core. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Maki. But you get viciously diffed just like the rest of them. Let's see.
Able to sneak Sukuna, and she probably got caught in the domain's radius. Even if she does get out, now she can't sneak him, and it's a face-to-face battle, which is worse for her, because originally she was able to damage Sukuna's heart, and that nerfed him a decent amount.
And even still, the big thing I will say, Maki hits Sukuna with SSK cleanly twice. She tackles him, but it doesn't do any damage, and she throws him around, doesn't do any damage. She hits him twice. And that is still a heavily nerfed, just smack with Jacob's Ladder, 4-armed Sukuna, dog. Against the full output one who's taken no soul nerfs and isn't holding back? Y'all remember how she got blitzed? It's gonna be that, but worse! It's gonna be that, but worse! He's gonna spread her across he's going to drag her through Shinjuku. He's going to paint a new highway line with her. That's how badly he would do her. When he's not holding back in that full output. It is horrific. Let's see.
Even if she somehow got close to Sukuna, the sneak attack wouldn't work. Because there's an author statement literally saying that under normal circumstance, in reference to Sukuna, he would have been able to avoid the sneak attack. But in that instance, he probably couldn't because of all the debuffs. So regardless, whichever way you look at it.
And he was very much distracted. He was very much distracted by other factors. Such as Yuta's domain shattering. He was very happy about that. And thus he didn't begin to consider Maki appearing and giving him vicious backshots. But unfortunately, that simply wouldn't happen in this world.
Maki's getting cooked. Now, I do think out of everyone else, so far, she has the best chances because of her vision.
I don't think so. Best chances in heavy quotation marks. If Sukuna isn't domaining, then yeah, she has a chance, quote unquote. But like, he blitzed her. He blitzed her badly, dog. She gets annihilated, bro. She gets annihilated. Oh, I'm sorry, Maki. Oh no. Let's see.
She can dodge the slashes, but this is essentially a full power Sukuna with no nerfs. She still doesn't stand a chance against him. After this, Sukuna would have just cooked everyone. I don't think anyone else would step in. Yuta can't go in Gojo's body because he was in the domain and just got minced. Miguel only wanted to fight Sukuna when he was basically like one shot, so he's definitely not coming to help. There's no point in Toto coming in. Everything basically ends for the cast if Sukuna wasn't nerfed. And that's just us talking about 15 finger. Imagine 20 finger Sukuna with no nerfs. They really never stood a chance. And Urarame was low-key spinning. They just got lucky. But I don't want to end the video off like that. I'm going to give you guys an extra round just because I did a community post on it. You guys seem to like the topic. So for the last and final round, we'll do 15 finger Sukuna versus Yuta and Gojo's body. Now, Yuta actually has a
15 finger Sukuna still wins.
Chance here. Because
I know y'all are going to be like, oh, Pencil, that's impossible. But how could he? He violates him. Sukuna was 3 nubs and 1 arm, and still brain damaged, and just using new domain pathing. You give him 2 arms, no output drops, and his regular domain, he still gives Goda back shots. Vicious ones. Remember, that Heian Body Sukuna had 1 feasible, fully functioning and working arm, and brain damage, and was at less than half of his cursed energy amount, and likely heavily reduced output because of all the hits he took from Yuji. You take a fully fresh Shinjuku Showdown, or Shibuya Sukuna in Yuji's body, and he literally styles on Goda, who can barely use the body right. It's still not a fight. Sukuna not only he violates. We'll see.
Because the Sukuna we're using doesn't have World Slash. But the big problem is Yuta is missing out on a lot of experience. It's something that was consistently highlighted while he was in Gojo's body. And he was getting pressed by a true form Sukuna that's been nerfed over and over again. Imagine a fresh Sukuna. It's really not fair. It's clear that there is a huge mismatch in skill, and it just ends with Sukuna winning the domain clash and taking the dub over Yuta and Gojo's body. Now I do think that if Yuta's able to pull off a purple, that could definitely do some damage to Sukuna, because even the true form Sukuna was kind of scared. Like, when he was thinking about purple, he was like, oh wait, hold on, bro, I need to tee up. So that's the best thing that Yuta could do. But in everything else, to me at least in the manga, it was just painfully obvious that they were just like, yeah, you just couldn't handle Gojo's body. Like, Gojo was extremely skilled. You are not on that level. Now, the last thing I want to bring up is that if Sukuna really wanted to, bro, he could have just have everyone jump him and just...
Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. If there are any video ideas you have, make sure to drop them in the comments. And if I do your idea, you will be shouted out in that video. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Lumiere, I beg you, do Shibuya, Yuji Kuna versus Gojo. Please, I want to see it. Or even just like a hypothetical 20-finger Yuji Kuna versus Gojo. I want to see that, Lumiere. If you're anywhere near and watching these, please, Lumiere, cook that up. But that aside, W video, yeah, like it's just, once again, once you remove the holding back, once you let Sukuna keep all of his IQ points, once you allow don't plot him out of existence, he just violates them. He violates them all, and that's the law of nature. And in fact, if you made it all the way to the end of this chunker of a video, please do me a favor and leave violation. Just violation in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do want to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1, get them 1, no month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. And so now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, you have the series I'm to review, I have variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, I do a link to my Ko-Fi and description down below where you drop 5 beans for a short video, 20 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Greyhound, Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier, XZ, G Prosper, Zeta, and Brandon Payne. Then I'd like to give a little thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, and A+A. And then I'd like to give a huge thank you to our ink tier members: Fine, Austin Wimberly, Euchiha, Yuki Ally, and Carlo Alaimo. Then I'd like to give a gargantuan thank you to our digital art tier members, J Warrior and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our colored art tier patron, Waki Minoz, and Idemokami. Then I'd like to give a final legendary top of the line thank you to our That Guy with a Pencil tier patron, the glorious king, Calvin Elder.